State Hockey. My name is Evan Arrington, and we are here for the second ever episode of Mondays with Murph. Obviously, here with the head coach of Buffalo State Men's Hockey, Steve Murphy. The last episode, we got to know you a little bit. Let's get into a little deeper diver conversations into scouting. First of all, how are you doing though?
Doing well. It's exciting. We're first day on the ice and first week coming up, and so it's always an exciting time to be back on the ice with the guys and get working with them, and new season, and looking forward to getting started here.
Outstanding. All right, so since I mentioned we're going to get into scouting a little bit, can you just kind of explain scouting in the step-by-step process of how it goes?
Yeah. So I mean, scouting, recruiting, same kind of thing. You've got to recruit new players every year due to guys graduating and stuff like that. But typically what the step-by-step is me and my assistant will sit down and come up with kind of a recruiting schedule, different showcases, different games, all the various leagues kind of throughout Canada and the U.S. and you're just really attending some games, and predominantly we're looking for 20-year-olds, guys that are ready to exhaust their last year of junior hockey eligibility, and then that kind of begins the process of building relationships with those players. Obviously, as most junior hockey players, their goal is to play Division I hockey, and we fully understand that. But really, you're just looking to build the relationships and start to get an open line of communication with those players, and in hopes that maybe they slip through the Division I cracks and end up here at Buffalo State.
There you go. That's outstanding. What are the struggles in scouting? Is there any struggles that you have faced as a head coach trying to scout players to bring into your program?
Yeah, again, every kid wants to play Division I hockey, and we fully understand that. Some of the I guess you need to have patience, right? And most of the kids that typically we're going after are committing in the second half of the season. And so there's obviously some risk and some reward there. Typically you can end up with maybe some higher end players, but the risk is you might lose a guy late, and some of the other guys that you liked have committed somewhere else. So I think it's just the challenges are probably different for every school. Whether that's majors, financial. We're in a city. There's some kids that don't enjoy being in a city. So I would say that those are some of the challenges. But I think we typically have done a pretty good job here over the last couple of years, and have built a nice little niche with some of the teams and some of the leagues from where we have found kids.
Yeah, that's outstanding. What is your favorite part about scouting? Is there just one thing that you just love about it?
I like it. I don't mind getting on the road and really going to check out just different rinks and different arenas, different cities, and where some of maybe these showcases or teams are playing. So there's always been a couple fun road trips that you go on, but yeah, nothing too particular.
All right, so you mentioned there that you get to visit some of these rinks, cities, other locations that you might have not visited once in your life. Best place you visited while scouting?
I think so. There's a division down in Texas in the North American Hockey League, and I know we touched a little bit base on that last interview. But I think it's a fun trip. It's you go down there, and it's a lot of driving between cities like Dallas and Odessa and Amarillo, Shreveport, Louisiana, stuff like that. But I think it's a really unique trip. It's really fun. There's typically not a lot of schools that go down that way, so. Usually you can get a little bit more intimate in the process with just the junior coaches and the players and stuff like that, because typically there's not a lot of teams that come down there. But I would say that's a really, really fun trip. So.
All right, there you go. Talk about your assistant coach, Alex Galuzny, and what he has done to help you scouting, for your program.
Yeah, really I would say that's the biggest task of at least what I require of our assistant coaches, or in specific Alex. He does a great job, and he's not afraid to get after it. He'll call 100 kids in a day and talk to them, and I think he's been really good as far as making those relationships early on with the players, and it kind of helps us throughout the year. But I would say, with the recruiting process and how I kind of get tied down with a lot of the administration stuff, and in the hockey side, I would say about 65 to 70% of the recruiting falls on Alex. And he got his feet wet last year. He obviously did it at the ACHA level before, but got kind of introduced to it at the Division III level last season, and I thought did a really, really good job. And obviously looking for him to take another step forward in the recruiting process this year. But he does a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned, yourself or Alex will call a lot of, players in a day or in a month or in a week. How important do you think that initial relationship building with that certain player is, especially when you bring them into the program?
Yeah, it's big. Like really, that's your time to learn what they're kind of looking for and learn what they're about. But it's also a chance for the recruits to learn more about yourself, what you're about, your kind of coaching philosophy, what the school's about, like what we can offer them, both on the athletic side and the school side. So, yeah, I early on it's really just touching base with the kids and kind of open that lines of communication. And as the season goes on, you just kind of keep building that relationship and hopes that it pays off at the end and you're able to hold the kids here in school.
Yeah, so obviously every year you're going to have a new set of recruits that are coming into the building. Can you talk about your experience bringing in some of the new guys thus far for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean we brought in a handful of defensemen, a handful of forwards each, and it was a pretty big class. There's only two out of those 8 or 9 guys. There's only 2 that are transfers, so most of them are junior hockey players that are coming as true freshmen. And they all bring a little something different. I think on the back end we wanted to address. I think we wanted to get bigger. And we did that with those 4 guys, and they're each unique in their own specific way as far as what they bring on the ice. But I think instantly, all 4 of those guys are over 6'2" or bigger. And that was an area that we really wanted to address, and we did that. And then up front, I think we've got a good mix of bringing in a couple guys that whether it's speed, physicality, a little bit of skill and IQ here and there, but yeah, they all bring something different. And listen, at the end of the day, it's a different step for them. There's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for each of those guys, and we know that. Our goal is obviously to stay patient and help develop these guys, but also kind of have the urgency of getting them introduced to our philosophy and structure and what we like to do as fast as possible. But typically, what I've seen is usually guys take about a semester in our philosophy, and then they really start to grasp it after the first half of the year.
Yeah, so obviously, as a head coach, your job's, to coach up the team, get them ready. But also, you have these new recruits coming in, they're coming from different places of the world. They have to, adjust to Buffalo. Like, what have you done to, adjust some of these new recruits to Buffalo?
Yeah, I think most of them are able to see the city in the recruiting process. We'll have a lot of guys come in and visit throughout the year, and that's kind of our chance, or even our current players that are here, that's their chance to really take those guys out and show them Buffalo and give them a little taste of maybe what the city has to offer. And I would say most guys, really fall in love with living in the city, and there's a lot to do here. I don't have to tell you that. And then when they're here, all of our guys live off campus, right? So they get kind of integrated with all the returners on the team right away, where our 28 guys are, spending most of their day off campus and doing things down in the city, canal side, AAA baseball team, Sabres, stuff like that. So they're really ingrained right away with our current guys as far as just going out and enjoying the city and kind of living that Buffalo lifestyle.
All right, there you go. You make a lot of great points on what the recruiting process takes, step-by-step process, and what you can do as a head coach to make it better, and also appointing, Alex Kaluzny and giving a lot of great points and a lot of great things talking about him as well. All right, that has been episode 2 of Mondays with Murph. We will see you guys next week for another action-packed episode with Buffalo State head coach Steve Murphy. Thank you for tuning in.